Hey everyone, it's Jen, and I am here making up for some lost time. I had computer problems the past couple weeks, so I know yesterday I posted, or earlier today, I posted my video about misconceptions about eating disorders from the 14th, January 14th, and now I'm doing the next one, which would have been the 21st, which is the video about quick fixes. So thanks for hanging with me here while I play some catch up. But I always love thinking about these topics and always get really invested in thinking about them, and I like to talk about them, so I'm glad I'm getting a chance to finally catch up now. So not this week, but a couple of weeks ago, or last week, we were talking about quick fixes in recovery, things that are out there that target people who can easily misuse them, or, well, not misuse them, probably use them as intended, but people who are misguided, and the people who are coming up with these things are also misguided, and it just can create a whole mess. So I did want to talk about how, like, certain quick fixes out there, like certain ideologies, certain groups of people, or certain plans, or certain products can target two different groups of people. People who are either still sick and are looking for triggers or looking for ways to get sicker, so they'll use these things knowing full well that it will just pull them in deeper, and in their sick minds, like, they're okay with that. They see them as a benefit and as an advantage. Or they can target another group of people, which is people who are trying to recover in earnest and are, unfortunately stumble upon these things and can then become thwarted and become trapped in something that they weren't really looking for, but they're desperate, so, then they become misguided, and then their recovery can kind of go awry. I think both of these groups are vulnerable. They're in vulnerable positions, and they make it easy for people to prey upon them. And so I think that people who want to promote these kinds of quick fixes do set out to prey upon either group. They don't really have much regard for people whose best intentions are to recover. They don't really have they don't honor that at all. I think a lot of the a shared kind of overlapping quality in a lot of the quick fixes is that they're all or nothing. There's a lot of perfectionism, or a way of doing something, a method or something, some plan to follow, some rule to follow, that is inherent within these kinds of quick fixes. That that same quality is inherent in eating disorders, and it is what often causes people to be vulnerable to develop eating disorders, and then what causes them to stay in it and, get really obsessive and really hard on themselves if they don't follow the eating disorder perfectly. So all or nothing thinking and perfectionism are not things that should be associated with recovery at all. They're the anti-recovery. That's what I think. I mean, I'm sure maybe there are a couple of exceptions, but I guess overall, these are themes generally that I don't think are overall beneficial for a healthy, wholesome recovery and a mindset, and one that lasts. So I sort of went through the different kinds of fixes, just things that I've come across or things that I've thought about, and sort of divided them up into, like, either there's like a person or a group of people, there are products, and by person or group of people, maybe like with an organization or something like that. There are products, there are like food plans. So those are just three that came to mind. I'm sure there are others. But in terms of people or groups of people, just be aware of people who promise major answers in a short period of time. Like, if I'm thinking mainly of kinds of like organizations or ideologies. Oh, wait, I went out of order. I'm sorry. I had ideologies there first. So ideologies, people, products, and food plans. That's how I was thinking. So ideologies can be preached to a lot of people with no emphasis on or no concern for individuality. A lot of these things assume that one thing will work for everyone, teaching that if you veer from their way of doing it, you won't be happy. This is very brainwashy type of thing, and very potentially almost cult-like in a way. And it's just very manipulative. So be careful if there's anything out there that you come across that makes you question, well, I'll talk more about that later. But then there are a person or group of people. I guess they would be people who promoted the ideology, whatever. So be aware of people who promise major answers in a short period of time. Therapists, for example, they know that answers take time to understand. And that work happens over time, and that it's a process. They don't put a price on how much information about yourself you're allowed to receive in a certain time period or in a certain schedule. Therapists also don't tell you how it is. Be aware of people or groups of people or organizations that promise to deliver answers or to change your life or to tell you why you are the way you are, especially if those people or organizations require money to deliver these answers that they alone hold for you. Understand that you have access to answers from many sources, and it's funny, I wrote from my sources. So ironic. Okay, anyway, and that the answers should in the end come from you. And also what you do with this knowledge also requires work and should also come from you. So your actions come from within as well. So onto products. Products, whatever it could be, pills, powders, fairy dust. I did write this. Whatever it is, if it's not referred to you by a trusted source, or if it's marketed to you, or if you see it in an advertisement, especially on a site for eating disorder recovery, huge light bulb should go off, huge, antennas should go up, radar. Question these and research them. If there's kind of sneaky information, like if you want to know more, put your credit card information here. That's no good. I don't want to say as a blanket statement. I don't know everything, but I'm just in my experience, what I've come across has been generally kind of like that, But if you do have further questions, I'd say run it by somebody else, not somebody who's selling the products necessarily. Be careful of people who twist their words around when telling you their qualifications. If they can't be direct and if they only quantify themselves by a guarantee that their product has worked or by a certain percentage or by an overly enthusiastic answer that has no substance or ground or point, if they can't give you a direct answer, it's okay to question why you should follow their rules. This is not talking about treatment. I don't mean anything about treatment right now. If you're still thinking about them, I'd say run them by your therapist or another trusted professional. Okay, so food plans. A food plan is not the sole answer to recovery. You can work a healthy eating plan into recovery and feel better about your mind, body, and spirit, but recovery is broader than just what you eat. It's about why you choose the food you do, how you eat it, and it's totally connected with your emotions and yourself as a whole person. It's not just about food. I know, it's so talked about, but it's always a good reminder. I believe certain changes in the way we eat can help us feel better and live better in the long run, but it's got to be within the appropriate context, and emotions have to be a vital part of the recovery process throughout. It's all work, and if somebody offers a food plan as the sole path to recovery, that's not going to, it's not going to be easy for somebody who has an eating disorder. That's how you know. Whereas if somebody offers a food plan as the sole means to becoming physically healthier for somebody without an eating disorder, it might be fairly manageable. Food is the answer when the problem is food. Recovery from an eating disorder encompasses much, much more than food alone. Now I want to talk a little bit about money and profit. People who promote different kind of kinds of quick fixes usually want something in return, usually money, sometimes attention, but let's talk about money. There's a distinction between people who make money from doing something they love and people who are driven by a profit and happen to be marketing something that they think might help somebody else, but ultimately it comes back to them. Therapy, for example, costs money, but, well, usually, but it's valuable enough to invest in it because the person on the other end, if they're a good therapist, cares about you and is only charging a fee because of the energy they put into your treatment. You're paying not only for a service, but in paying, you're allowing that person the freedom to continue doing what they love. Also, therapists might be willing to work with you on a sliding scale, which marketed products lack the personalization to offer, or the caring, or the compassion, or the ability to have a back and forth. Especially if it's like one person and like massive. So, you know, because therapists value what, because the people marketing products and things like that, quick fixes, value what they're getting and not what they're giving. So they could be getting money, they could be getting attention, or any kind of satisfaction that doesn't have to do with you. You're just the middleman. So often they are, so they kind of pretend or claim, put up a front that they're out to save you, but really they just bank on your previous failures. I didn't say that quite right, but they're banking on your previous failures, whatever. No good therapist hopes that you come to them as a last resort. They want to help you as early on in the recovery process as they can catch you. Quick fixes, on the other hand, depend on you going to them as a last resort in an act of desperation, and that's how they cash in. When you're too blurry to think straight and you can't fall any farther and you feel you have nothing else to grab onto. Part of a therapist's job is to make sure that you don't rely only on them, to instill a sense of autonomy, and if you're in a desperate state, to make sure that you receive a higher level of care, and always to communicate with other members of your treatment team or have family sessions, or instill a sense of power in you and teach you that it's okay to ask for help in other places, to share the responsibility of your recovery with others in a position to help you. So a lot of this is like the opposite of what any kind of quick fix would really ask of you to do. You know, many of them want you to rely only on them, and yeah, so bad. Eating disorders are already so much about rules and control. That's how we allow ourselves to stay sick, by trying to exert more and more control. So don't let anyone else tell you that you just need to control or discipline yourself in some way in order to recover, whether that be in the form of a diet or a pill or an ideology. That thing might even, that person that's promoting this might even explain their own history with an eating disorder. They might say, they started doing this thing and then all of a sudden they got better, but so you think, oh, they're relatable, and maybe they've thought of something that no one else has, and oh, they're putting themselves on my level. But so much of this is manipulation, and it's really like a well-designed infomercial. So always question, always research. If something is too glitzy, if someone is over-dramatizing, if someone needs a shtick, please question it and do the research. And remember that if it doesn't require you to work, if it sounds like a sell, if the person promoting it still seems unstable themselves, research, question, and put your energy into the recovery methods that you either already know or already trust, or talk to the people that you already trust for new suggestions. Have a grounding there before you try something new. Don't just grab at straws, because then you will find these things, because people are looking for people who are grabbing at straws. So it's okay to try new things. Don't just try it because you happen to stumble upon it. Try it because it means something to you. Try it because it challenges you. And if you suspect that it might not be okay, run it by people that you trust first. So that is that, and take care. Bye.